Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel. Thank you for joining this live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the United Nations' continued outrageous abuse of the funds that are given it by pushing what's called Orange the World Day or Week, I think it is. And this is the new United Nations initiative because violence against women has reached epidemic proportions. Now, a bit like climate change, they've been saying this for the best part of 40 fucking years. Every year, every year is a new epidemic and a new pandemic. Billions, trillions have been spent on this over the last few decades, but it gets worse. It just keeps on getting worse. No matter how much money is spent, it just keeps on getting worse. Now, part of that is part of the reason for that is that more and more people are employed to stop this violence against women. And the more and more people they employ to stop it, the more and more violence occurs. So it's got to be the least worthwhile, least beneficial expenditure in the history of the human race, given the outcomes. But let's have a look at it. The United Nations is always spreading, outrageous propaganda, and of course they're again globalist flunky stooges. And so this is part of the globalist thing about pushing. There's the gender, there's the race, there's the climate. Those are the big three, and the globalists are using all three to tear Western society apart. But they're having a good old go at South America at the moment, in particular in India, say. So the third world or lower middle range sort of nations are getting a good old dose of it, and this Orange the World thing is part of it. They're really getting stuck into South America and India as an example. So the propaganda is the same propaganda that, again, it's been for decades. It's just repackaged and rehashed with a couple of different scarce fear porn lines thrown in there. But they're saying one in every three, one of the catch cries, this is one of the catch cries, 1 in every 3 women will be abused in their lifetime. Now, if it's a lifetime, it includes, I suppose, from the day they're born to the day they die. But and then they go from that then straight to it's men. Men do it. So straight men do it. This time it's not straight white men. They're particularly looking at brown and black men on this occasion, or brown men rather in particular. So 1 in 3 women. So now they're having a go in some of the poorest South American countries. This is where a lot of people aren't getting enough to eat. Electricity is rare outside of the cities. Running water and flushing toilets and things like that are hard to come by. People live where the soil is fertile for farming, and these areas are subject to intense rainfall. So there's thousands of lives lost every year through mudslides and earthquakes and all sorts of stuff like that. So these countries are in deep shit, just economically and financially and standard of living wise. And yet somehow the United Nations decides they have to spend gazillions of dollars on radical feminist issues that are couched in very Marxist terms, that where they're using the same bullshit propaganda lines they've been using for decades. So they're trying to make our gender fault lines are the real problem these countries have got. People dying of starvation. Nah, who cares? Not enough water to drink, dirty water. Kids go, no, who cares about that? All sorts of, areas, farming areas that need to be retained so farmers can farm. No, irrelevant. What we're talking about here is Marxist feminism. That's the real issue. Now, of course, it's propaganda. Now, I got online and had a look at some of the marches that are around South America. Again, very professionally produced signs. Someone's paying for that, and these are very poor people. So someone paying for that. Organisers leading chants and so on with bullhorns. Some very fit-looking people there who are very skilled at using the bullhorn and riling up the masses. Where do these people come from? Uni kids, for example. So they're paying poor peasants to come along and say, we'll give you something to eat and we'll put a few bucks in your pocket if you come along and wave some placards for us. But they try and sell it as some grassroots uprising. Women everywhere are rising up against this oppression. They have nothing to lose but their chains, and of course, which is nonsense. I mean, these people haven't got enough to eat. Maybe that should be a priority rather than some Marxist bullshit feminism. So, but anyway, the United Nations and the NGOs are getting in there. So it's trained, very skilled, well, I don't know if it's skilled, but certainly trained and well-equipped agitators are going in there, stirring it up. So I looked at some of the women out front with the bullhorn, very, very fit-looking, wearing, designer label clothes. These aren't people on the bones of their ass. So this is the game, this oranging the world, as they call it, and looking at these things around South. Some had homemade signs, but they were clearly being told what to put on there, and you can tell by the way some of them talk when they're interviewed. And my Spanish isn't that good, but it's good enough to pick up what they're on about. And they're probably illiterate in their own language, I would think, the way they're talking. So these aren't people who are looking at the finer points of Marxist theory and ideology. These are people who just want enough to eat, and they want to be able to get clean water to drink and have some sort of surge and maybe get some electricity there as well. But they're being offered money to come along and wave a placard around and say, hey, yeah, why not? I get a free meal and a few bucks, so I'm good to go on this. But that's what they're doing there. And just, have a look. It's online. It's Oranging the World. It's the United Nations initiative, and they're subcontracting NGOs to go out and agitate and stir the place up. I don't know for what benefit. I'm surprised some of these governments are letting it happen. In a few cases, the marchers are blocking the main roads, so the riot police went in to clear the roads, and some of the coverage of this suggests these incredibly brave Amazon women that are out there defying the police, pushing back because of this oppression. And then I have a few little interviews where some illiterate peasant woman will say, we're being raped in our homes, we're being raped on the street, we're being raped in our workplace, and we're being raped in the universities. And therefore, all this violence has to stop. And I go, wow. I mean, that is bad. If that's the way, that is a problem. But it's not, of course. It's all invented and made up statistics. But have a look at yourself online. It's some outrageous propaganda that looks like it was put together by some 19-year-old gender studies intern. I mean, it's just bullshit. But that's what the United Nations is pushing. And they're throwing a lot of money at it, and they're attempting to divide these poor societies. And they're not rich, these poor societies along gender lines. And to what purpose? To what end? What will they achieve by it? I mean, is it going to be part of the globalist project? You've been with Tastas today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.